dum dum, diddle dum dum, diddle dum dum, diddle dum dum. There was a turtle by the name of Bert, and Bert the turtle was very alert. When danger threatened him, he never got hurt. He knew just what to do. He ducked and covered, ducked and covered. He did what we all must learn to do. You and you and you and you. Duck and covered.
I saw him take out two, and then I was gone. I was out of there.
Okay, were the students still alive?
I didn't know, ma'am. I didn't even check. I just got out of there as fast as I could.
Okay, but they went down, right?
Yeah, they were laying on the ground in blood.
Nothing will prevent another Columbine. Nothing will prevent another Newtown.
People have been injured, in some cases critically, in this shooting.
There have been 31 school shootings, Nick, since 1999, which was the Columbine.
It's very chaotic out there right now, so...
Lights started blowing up and shooting everyone in the cafeteria.
Children were taken out bloody. I'm very scared, worried about my son, worried about the other kids that I know here.
School shootings in history.
I want you to stay in the line with me. We need to know what's going on. Okay? I am on the floor. Okay. You've got the kids there? And I've got every student in this library on the floor. You better stay on the floor.
I was afraid of clowns. Clowns gave me a great amount of fear because just the makeup and the happiness. And I also saw a really scary movie that had to do with clowns when I was younger by accident. I wasn't supposed to be watching it, but I watched it anyways.
Never liked going in the water that was over my head. And I didn't like the dark.
Don't like to go swimming in the ocean at all, actually. Sharks.
Lions and tigers and bears. Lions and tigers and bears. Oh, my.
Let me assert my firm belief that the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
You know, I grew up at a time when kids really thought the world could come to an end any time. It didn't, and things have seemed pretty safe ever since.
The media has a very, particularly in television, they have a very big role in everybody's lives. They profoundly influence our culture and how we think.
Your squad is ready for you to lead them through. With Johnny 7 OMA, you charge. Johnny 7 fires bullets like a rifle, fires like a Tommy gun. Now it's a cap-firing pistol. You've won with Johnny 7, the one-man army gun.
We'd like to explain the very important reasons why we do what we do, because it's all designed with your safety in mind.
When one guy decides to bring a shoe bomb onto a plane, now all Americans have to take their shoes off to get on a plane. It's never going to happen again. It never happened before. I just always have this feeling that we overreact to things.
The media has been able to disseminate images and information and sort of capture the attention of the public regarding these incidents that happen. And I think at the same time, the incidents that have happened are so difficult to process for the average person. I send my little child to school with their little lunchbox and their homework, and now it's a massacre on the floor. It's so hard for parents and teachers and everyone else involved in educating kids to think that those two are the same image in the same place, that we tend to fixate on it.
We have to accept this higher level of risk out there and try to live as normally as we can without going overboard in security.
What seemed so impossible is now possible. And I just think as a society we can't ignore that.
On one hand, I feel like it's probably not likely to happen. The number of school shootings is actually very, very low. But when I heard our police chief talk about his conversation with the police chief in Newtown, Connecticut, he described a town that was very much like Yarmouth.
Why does the sun go on shining? Why does the sea rush to shore? Don't they know it's the end of the world?
The idea that there could possibly be some harm awaiting your child when you send them to school is just a terrifying reality to parents.
A school shooting could happen anywhere because there are bad people everywhere. But do we want to live our lives waiting for that to happen or being fearful it's going to happen? I don't think so. I don't find myself doing anything differently or fearing anything more because it happened somewhere else.
Wherever there's a perception of a threat, parents want something done about it.
The cost, not financially, but I think there's a psychic cost when you have this atmosphere of suspicion. I mean, we want to live in a place where people didn't trust each other. I could live in New York City or Boston, but we want to live in Maine. I think that's one of the benefits, besides the clean air, is a sense of trust.
I believe the keypads and identity cards are interfering with the sort of freedom that we have. It's not terribly egregious, honestly, but it will diminish somewhat our culture of openness that protects us.
I don't think that maybe the kids are as free and open and relaxed as maybe it was when my kids were in school.
I think oftentimes for students, the importance and the ability to have freedom and respect and trust, and to know that the teachers and parents are trusting them to make good decisions for themselves, is in fact being interfered with. But if the students understand that that's not the purpose behind the measures, and that we're taking all possible measures to ensure for their safety in a way that is less restrictive or least restrictive for our students, is positive, regardless of what the students think.
And just the peace of mind, I think, is honestly a lot more important than than your civil liberties, as long as it's not taken too far.
I think they could go too far really quickly. I've heard of schools, like I heard of this school in northern Maine that has all these video cameras all over their, it's a tiny little high school. They've got video cameras all over their school, and they're directly tied into the local state police barracks. So the police can have an eye on any aspect of the school at any time. I think that's an example of it's gone way too far.
If someone wants to harm our children, they'll find a way to do it. They'll find a way around this security system. This system will make parents feel their children are safe, but really its only effect will be the same as a placebo.
Right now, I'm not afraid. Despite everything that's happened in our world and in other places, I'm not afraid here. This is for your safety, and it's just something that we do, just like we do bus drills, and no one's afraid of bus drills.
What's the reality? The reality is American schools are real safe. And the irony, a number of studies have shown that the more you increase school security, the less safe and the more threatened students feel, because you're constantly reminded by a guard, a lock, a camera, that, oh, this could be a dangerous situation. A few studies that say that there's a tendency where security is really strict, that it ends up criminalizing what would otherwise be just normal student, misbehavior. So, if a couple of guys are horsing around in the hallway, and that looks like assault, and so we've got to, it ends up with law enforcement and the courts doing something that schools used to do.
What if there was a big forest fire that swept right down through and it came up over Yarmouth? Okay, shouldn't we be worried about that? I'd say no. No, I don't think we need some sort of pseudo-asbestos covers and bunkers built in or whatever. It's just too unlikely. We'll just do a good job and have a sensible thing that does not change our climate entirely.
Statistics are on my side. Kids get up and go to school every day, and teachers go to school and teach them, and they go home and nobody gets shot. I think it's much more likely that I'll have some kind of cancer. Honestly, those are the things that scare me. But whether I'm going to get shot in my classroom as a teacher, that's not something that worries me at night.
We don't always go on statistics, we go on perceptions. And right now the perception is we've got a lock up schools to make them safer for kids.